Hey guys, this is Kara from iStampin.com. I'm going to show you how to make this darling project. But I wanted to show y'all, I was hoping to come on live last night, but I was just struggling with coloring this cow. And I want to kind of go through my progression of where I started. So I've got all of this to show you. But I started off coloring it with our Stampin' Blends, and I just did not like the result I was getting. I came in here with our blender pen and I just thought this was horrible. Then I came in here with our watercolor pencils, and this is just thick Whisper White cardstock. I didn't like that at all. So then I switched over to watercolor paper and again used our watercolor pencils, and I don't know what it was. I just wasn't liking the results that I was getting, and I love our watercolor pencils. But then I decided, well, let me use my watercolor, my Aqua Painter still. Oh, and speaking of which, I need to fill this up. But let me use our ink, and that's when I started to get better results. But the ink was bleeding. So this morning, and I was just so frustrated that I just put this away. Well, I did come up with this. I came up with this version, and I still just was not happy with it. There was all this bleeding. You probably can't see it. I didn't like this color I didn't like the combination of how I did it. So I just, I was just getting so frustrated. So I just put it away. And then this morning I was like, you know what? I wonder if the Stays-On ink would work better than the Memento ink, because usually Memento is the ink that I use for just about everything, to use with the blender, to use with blender pens, watercolor pencils, or Stampin' Blends. But like I said, I was just getting really bad results until I practiced here, and this finally did it. So if you haven't pulled out your Stays-On in a while, grab this. And I just love this result. It's crisp and clear. It didn't bleed, and I'm just so happy with those results. But if you've never used our Aqua Painters, this is a perfect time to show it to you. This unscrews, and this barrel is empty, so you just fill that up with tap water. And then this is your brush tip. So mine's a little bit stained, but it runs clear. So anyway, so let me show you the items that you're gonna need to make this project. And hopefully, if y'all get frustrated with making cards, that's okay. Kind of step away. I don't know why this card gave me such a fit last night. Not only the coloring part, but just putting it together. I don't know. I mean, this is not a complicated card by any means, so I have no idea why it just gave me fits. But stepping away, I think I was really tired last night because I went to bed early, but stepping away just gave me a completely clear picture, a much better picture this morning. So if you get a little frustrated, kind of get into a block, just step away and look at it the next day or a few hours later, and maybe you'll have a better picture. All right, so like I said, we're using Over the Moon. This is our new cling stamp. So they are red rubber, but they have our new cling stickers on there, which is really, really nice. Just an absolutely darling stamp set. Has some really funny puns that go along with this. To color in the cow, so I stamped the cow on our watercolor paper right here using Stays-On ink. And then to color in the cow and the other parts of the cow, like the grass, the background, the heart, I used Flirty Flamingo, Smoky Slate, Pool Party for the Sky. The Flirty Flamingo is going to be the heart, and then just the little inside parts of the cow's ear, and then around the mouth and the nose. I don't know. Is that part of the cow called something? To color in the bell, I'm using Daffodil Delight, and then the grass is Granny Apple Green. I am using the Aqua Painter for that. So you'll need to have a paper towel handy. For the other parts of the card, for the card base, I created my own. Well, actually, we carry Very Vanilla. So anyway, I went ahead and created my own Very Vanilla cardstock, but you can grab one of those if you have it. It comes 22 a pack with matching envelopes. But if you don't have any, you can make this yourself. I just cut a piece of cardstock down to 5 by 7, and then I scored this at 3.5. So that is the folded card size, so it's 3.5 by 5. For the Flirty Flamingo, I used our linen, and hopefully you can see that. I used our linen embossing folder to create just a subtle background. This measures just 1/4 inch smaller than the card base. So this is 3.25 by 5. No, 3.5 by 5. Yeah, okay, sorry. 3.25 by 4 3/4. And that's just gonna layer on top of there eventually. I've already done this bit of die cutting. This is using gray granite cardstock. I really love gray granite, even though I'm using Smoky Slate. It doesn't, you know, gray granite complements Smoky Slate really nice. I did pull out our layering squares framelits, and so to die cut this piece, I did use the largest. Did I say framelits? Dies. I'm sorry. It's going to take me a while to get out of that habit. Using our layering squares dies. So I used the largest die to cut out the scallop square. And then I am going to be die cutting this panel out using our stitched shape square die. And for that, I've got it next to my Big Shot, but that's going to be the largest square. So that's easy. So just get out your largest scallop square and stitch square. So that's what you're going to need for that. For the Dream Big, I stamped that using Pool Party onto Pool Party cardstock. And then just to give it a little bit of more texture, I'm using our braided linen trim. I haven't used this a whole bunch, and I really like this. It goes really nicely with all the colors. It's a really pretty trim, and it's easy to tie a bow, so you can do that. And then I am using the Stamparatus to stamp the cow and the Dream Big. The only reason why I'm using it for the cow is I wanted to make sure that I got a really crisp image. For the other pieces, I didn't need it, but I just really wanted to make sure that the cow was perfect. And then for the Dream Big, the reason why I'm using the Stamparatus for that is because these are red rubber stamps, and regardless if I put the sticker on straight, it never stamps straight. So I'm going to use the Stamparatus to make sure that I get the Dream Big straight. And then for adhesive, I'm using a combination of snail, our foam adhesive strips, and tear and tape. And that's really it. And of course, you know, whichever adhesive you prefer, you can use. Okay, so let me get my Stamparatus, and I've got everything on here already. Now with StazOn, you do have to use a StazOn cleaner to remove the ink, so you do want to be sure that you have that handy as well. And let's go ahead and put, oh, it's right here. This on here. Oh, let's see how, okay. Trying to do this with using, not having a whole lot of waste. All right, so let's go ahead and ink this up. Do y'all use StazOn a lot for your projects? It's been ages since I've used this ink, and I'm not sure why. Okay, I'm going to stamp it one more time. I just want it to be little bit blacker. And with our Stamparatus, you're going to get perfect positioning every time if your paper doesn't move. Let me just put that disclaimer in there. Okay, and then we'll do the Dream Big just a little bit later. Okay, so then I'm going to stamp the grass. And like I said, I got a pretty good impression with this without the Stamparatus. So I'm just going to do 2 little grass images right there, and then 1 over here above his leg. And then for the little dream bubble with the heart, that's just going to go to the right of the cow. Just like so. Very easy. Now, of course, you could, you know, put all your images on the Stamparatus and do this all at once. You would have to move the grass, but I thought this was just as easy. So I've got my Aqua Painter. Sorry for the camera shaking. And I'm going to start off with Daffodil Delight. Now I will tell you what I like to do is, and it was a lot easier with our old style cases. If you squeeze the top and the bottom together, theoretically, you're supposed to be able to get a pool of ink on the top. This one I had a really hard time, so I had to go get my re-inker and put a couple of drops on top of the lid. The other ones I was able to get enough ink. So if you don't want to mess with that and you have the re-inkers, just, you know, save yourself some time and just get the re-inker, put a drop in the lid, and then you'll have your little palette. But what I like to do is to kind of drop, obviously you can see that this is kind of dry. If you just drop a couple of drops of water, that reactivates it. You can get it a little diluted, and then just come in here really gently with your Aqua Painter and just come and brush whichever part of the cow you want to start with. And for whatever reason, I like to start with a little cowbell. And I'm going to get a little bit more of the saturated color and just come over here on the right side and just make that a little bit darker. And hopefully you can see that. You can see that dimension. And then when you're done with the color, just squeeze, let some water flow, and then just brush your Aqua Painter on the towel until it runs clear. Then you know that there's no color left on the brush. And then let's work with Smoky Slate. There we go. Okay. So y'all get the idea. What do you think? You like that? So your ink pads are definitely more to use than just stamping. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of offset it where this leg is kind of at the end of the framelit of the die. Oops. I'm gonna have to start like a jar for every time that I say the wrong word. Just get put money in there until I get out of the habit. You know, like a swear jar. So that's what it looks like when it's cut. Isn't that just so cute? I love it. And then what we can do is go ahead and adhere this on top of our gray granite scallop square. And I'm going to use our foam adhesive strips. And y'all, if you subscribe to my newsletter, I just sent out an exclusive project earlier, probably about an hour ago. So be sure to check your inbox. If you are not subscribed to my newsletter, go ahead and subscribe, but shoot me a message saying that you just subbed, and I will send you the project to you. I'll just forward my email, so it will be a little bit different format this first time than what I normally send out every week. And also my annual BOGO sale, it's still going on. It ends this Saturday, so there's just 5 days left. The Google document that that you can look at is live. I update it, as I go. So as of right now, everything that's on there is available. And just so you know how it works, when you shop my BOGO sale, whatever you spend in my sale, you get to choose free product from the brand new catalog. So there's some really nice things for sale there. Like, I know Very Vintage, that was a Hostess stamp set that was very sought after. That's on my list. It's brand new, never ever used. So if that's something that you've been eyeing, I would go snag that up before somebody else gets it. Okay, let's go into our stamping really quick. So I've got my piece of Pool Party. And let me grab the Stamparatus again. So let me flip the plate. And, yep, that's going to be good. So this is just a scrap piece of Pool Party. I always have scraps laying around. So I'm just going to do some tone-on-tone stamping. And then I'll cut this down like so. So let me grab my trimmer. I pretty much do this on every project where I like to make a banner. Okay. And then I'm just going to cut off just a little bit on the left side of this, about right there. Yeah, that looks good. And then my little handy dandy banner punch. Like I always say, you could do this with scissors. I stink at that. So I like to use that little trimmer, that little punch. And then that's just going to go right there. I'm just using snail to adhere this. And that's just going to go right there. It's kind of hanging off just a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to tie the trim around our embossed panel first. And then we'll adhere everything together after that. And let's see here. And then I will just cut the tails. I like to cut mine on an angle. That's just what I do all the time. Some people cut them straight on. I just can't do that. And then for this, I am going to use tear-in tape just because this panel is kind of a little curled up, just to make sure that that trim is tight. And I'm just going to put tear-in tape on the bottom and the top where it straddles the trim, and this should be plenty. Whoops. I probably should be using our take your pick tool. I haven't gotten used to all these things that are no longer available to us. I need to clear off my desk with those items. Okay, and so what you can do is you can just press at the top and the bottom where that adhesive went. And then we'll just adhere this. I'll just use snail. I'm just going to put a few strips, 4 to be exact, on here. And I'm just going to make sure that this is even all the way around. And we have our darling card done. But there you go, guys. What do you think? I hope you love it. So again, this was using Over the Moon stamp set, which you can find in the brand new annual catalog. Speaking of the annual catalog, if you have not gotten a copy of yours yet, reach out to me and I can talk to you about how to get one to you. Kimberly shared that she uses an acrylic block. So all she does, is this what you do, Kimberly? Where you just kind of mush it in the ink? That's a brilliant idea. That would save you a lot of aggravation. So that's a great tip. Thanks for sharing that, Kim. So thank you, ladies, for joining me. Have a very nice, pleasant evening with your family, and catch me later this week, okay? Bye.